Hello everyone, welcome back to Space Engineers, where we are continuing work on the lead vehicle for our kind of ground transport convoy here. I have been working a little while on this door and ramp section, trying to get this to work. This is not my strong suit in Space Engineers. In fact, this is actually probably one of my least favorite things to do in Space Engineers, to actually do kind of mechanical editing, because really I don't think Space Engineers does a great job at it. Like rotors will explode at times, or they're just really weird to set up. Blocks aren't very flush, if flush at all. I've tried putting some blast doors around the edge of this thing to kind of make it flush and sealed, but that didn't work, and so I'm kind of having to just leave this half block gap in pretty much all directions here, which isn't too bad. I mean, it is an atmospheric vehicle, so I don't really mind that much, but it is a little bit of an annoyance. Yeah. So, we have a button out here that'll lower the ramp. You can get in the seat if that's what you want to do, and then hop out once you're actually at the location that the fleet is heading to. This episode is pretty much just going to be working on some armor, some detailing, trying to tidy up the main body a little bit, and working, hopefully, on the overall looks. It's going to be a pretty build-intensive episode. We're going to be looking at trying to work on different kinds of angles and cutting into the armor in places, trying to reveal some underside if that's needed. I'm going to go ahead and turn on mirror mode here. And I think the first thing that I want to do is actually get rid of this section of armor here, because I wouldn't mind keeping some of these crates exposed for some of the look of just trying to layer as many things as possible. I've been playing so much Scrap Mechanic that I feel like that game does a wonderful job at allowing you to layer things, and so I kind of want to bring that into Space Engineers a little bit. I'm not really the best at it in this game, as it takes a little bit more effort to do so, just because you don't really have decoration pieces, you just have a lot more kind of basic shapes that you had to build everything out of, which is fine. It's not that big of a problem, but where you run into issues is more along the lines of, say, layering thin details together to make a large piece. So to make my wall, I would really love to be able to say, just give me some decorative things, and I can put them together in any way that I want to make a wall, or something that looks like a wall and can function like a wall. I feel like that would be super beneficial to the game. And so we're just gonna try and bring some different armor pieces. We're trying to really break up the surface a little bit here and try and attach and leave little, overhanging bits that you can almost call, like, think of lines in a car, how it goes over the fenders and then up the side skirt, and then maybe it might go up in the back. That's something I think is something we can work towards, or attempt to work towards in our builds. So for example, I could do this. I could choose to leave this middle bit a little bit more bulky. It might be that it's actually ratcheting down on a piece, and so you can bring these slight angles and contours to your advantage and make almost these ribs that would be a major structural kind of highlight in certain areas. So I'm going to highlight the connector where we're going to use like a boom arm to actually kind of give this thing cargo and take the cargo out of its back end. And it also makes it look a little bit more like a transport, like it's a kind of a shell guarding the goods itself. Now, you don't want to do too much ribbing kind of everywhere, because what can happen is it'll start to look repetitive at that point. So I think that's all the ribbing I'm going to do in that kind of shape. And then what you do is other details in other areas. So we could get rid of these 3 blocks maybe. And possibly, I mean, what would it look like if we... Well, let's do something cool here. Let's get rid of all of these, because it doesn't really connect to this super smooth or in any kind of nice way anyway. So we can kind of at least try and make it look a little unique with using these half slopes. So we can do that as another detail. And then mixing your half slopes with full blocks and things like that can be good as well. So we can do this maybe as kind of a front. It has a nice line going over the spine of the ship. And then for these, maybe even here we can have some smoother connections. And then maybe more of a dramatic connection point. Question is to make this all smooth, because it does look okay. You know, to do something like this, and then have this line carry maybe to the very back for us. So it goes 3. And setting up a kind of a common theme can be okay. So that line follows through most of the ship, gets broken up in the middle, which kind of lets your eyes rest, and then you can follow these lines if you want to another section. Just going to put that there to cover up a small vent. And I'm going to work on this corner as well. Just try and smooth some rougher areas out. Like that. Oop, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to get rid of this here. Possibly, what's the best way to do this? So this is where it can get a little tricky, as you need to find the right piece to smooth out that turn, that transition right there. That's not too bad. Yeah, it's already looking better. It's looking less rough and more of a refined piece altogether right now, which is good. So let's see how this is looking over here, because if I go any farther than this line, I'll have to turn off symmetry mode, because this door could get destroyed on accident, which is not something we want. Fine with this kind of side skirt effect going there. You know, I'm fine with it almost thinning out like it is. And in fact, I might want to play with that a little bit more. And maybe do something like this. Give it kind of a boxy wing-like end to the side. That may be pretty cool. Now, the hard part is here, trying to connect these pieces up. But I think we may have managed it. Now, I'm going to make that one over. That'll give us a little bit of a ledge to kind of look at and another detail. Those look fairly nice. Kind of want to smooth out this transition maybe. At least on the front and back side. So yeah, it's gonna be a pretty chill episode today. I hope you guys are having an okay time with your own builds and your own creations that I'm sure you all are working on. And if you do ever want to show me, you know, your own stuff, feel free to do so. You can always leave me a private message to like a link to some screenshots, or you can leave a public message. I don't care. Just, you know, I'm always interested to see what everyone's working on. Do that. Yeah, that's okay. You don't have to bring this line, I think, all the way down here, just so it finishes off. Or, let's see, now I'll actually make it the full length. There we go. Or if you guys know of any awesome builders that I should take a look at and things like that, maybe I might do a series on some submitted builds, so you guys can submit things and I might be able to critique them, help you out. That might be something fun to do. I'm gonna need the corner piece, I think, here. Just like this. Alright. You know, let's add some lights that could maybe set eventually. That's like a reversing light. There we go. Gotta have plenty of light so you guys can see at night and things. How's the day and night cycle going? It's going okay. Going okay indeed. Not too worried about the undercarriage look to this thing. So I might just do that. Kind of mark the end of the chassis. The back end already looks a whole lot better, in my opinion, than what we started with. Sometimes these type of things can take multiple passes, and so don't get discouraged if you mess up initially. I can get pretty frustrated myself. In fact, I was pretty frustrated earlier at this, but you know, it's just, you gotta stick with it or else really you don't improve. And seeing other people's builds shouldn't discourage you either. It should kind of encourage you to work on your own thing. So let's leave the back kind of boxy and layered a little bit. That looks pretty cool. Just another indent of detail. And that pretty much finishes up the sculpting of the back end, it looks nice. Looks real nice. I'm gonna go ahead and see how all this additional weight might affect the driving. In fact, I'm gonna save in case the rotor door decides to explode. But I mean, the max speed limit I have set to this thing is 30 kilometers an hour, so it shouldn't have too many problems. I do need to think of a cool name for this. Don't know what though. Not really the best at naming things. Anyway, since we're at like 15 minutes or so, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of tidy up the front end at this point, and then paint it as well, and then we'll be back kind of for the final reveal of the first transport section. Okay, everyone, so here is kind of the finished look, at least for now, of our kind of lead vehicle here. Standard blue and white, like most of our vehicles here lately. Added some yellow in the back to kind of symbol that it's kind of a utility transport, something not really combat oriented. It's more for just transporting goods around or for convoys, and it looks okay. I'm quite pleased with the overall kind of silhouette of it. This side still, in my opinion, looks weird because I just don't like the way doors and things and ramps work in Space Engineers, but not much I can do about it. You know, fits 3 people, which is great. The buttons do work. It has a defensive turret. It's got plenty of cargo space. It can traverse over the terrain at a decent speed without, you know, exploding, tipping over, anything like that. We can go ahead and just kind of drive around a little bit. It is obviously too small to fit in our current garage that our LAV kind of calls home, but it is something that we're going to have to think about kind of moving forward, whether to expand the base or to just work on the next attachment, which, by the way, I do need suggestions for. So if you guys want to see an attachment onto this vehicle, let me know. We can maybe have a mobile launch pad to maybe launch a scout vehicle, or maybe a light fighter that can this thing can kind of drag around. I kind of want to park this by the LAV so you guys can see kind of the full size comparison here and how this looks. Or, you know, it can be a new refining type of attachment that this can drag around, or a mining attachment. Who knows? Anything is open for grab at this point. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the episode, feel free to subscribe to my channel for more creative goodness. Go ahead and hit that like button. Let me know in the comments down below what you'd like me to build next, and I'll see you all in the next episode.